for a new episode from On Down the Road Productions, and this episode is our 5-year cost. What was it for owning our Rocket 3 GT? I've spoken in past videos about how some of the other channels out there might just borrow the bike for a day or two or even a week and make a commercial for Triumph motorcycles, and the highlight of those videos more often than not is the guy giggling while they accelerate. I just feel that this channel, this platform, is in a very unique position, having owned the bike now for 5 years. It has 18,034 miles on it. I want to thank you guys. This past year I've been dealing with medical stuff, and just thanks for sticking with us. Our channel continues to grow and we are grateful. So let's get into this episode. I put money down on the Rocket 3 GT in mid-December of 2019 and took delivery of the bike in February of 2020, so I had to wait for it to come in from California. The purchase price was $25,370.30. I paid $262 for a luggage rack separately from the purchase price, and after that, in late May of 2020, I had the 600-mile service done, which was $316.71. Later in the year, in September, to reward myself for a professional accomplishment, getting hired at a new place, I put a speed shifter on the bike, which was $576.24. In mid-October of that year, I also put knee pads on the bike for $249.78 and had the oil change too with those knee pads. Again, Castrol oil change. The big thing about the quick shift and knee pads, they're both recommended for the Rocket 3 GT. The quick shift makes the bike even quicker and better, and the knee pads keep your tank from getting scratched from your jeans, which I was having happen. I'd polish it out. The bigger thing though is comfort. Having your knees on both legs push into those rubber knee pads is really comfortable. It's nice, so they're worth it, and the quick shifter's worth it. I also purchased a Power Bronze Power Blade windshield for around $320. I had a hard time looking up my original paperwork, but it was roughly around $320, and that was another great purchase. The Power Bronze Power Blade comes with a short windshield and a tall windshield, and it improved the bike. It's adjustable and you can modify it while it's on the bike. I also bought panniers and ran up about $1,000 on panniers, the left and right panniers. So my issues with the panniers, after having lived with them, and a couple years later they were replaced for free, the zippers go bad. It's a clamshell type of setup, and opening it clamshell, those zippers will go bad. They're plastic. And I think part of it's bad design, part of it's owner error. So just remember, if you've got these panniers, they're too small, they're limiting with what you can bring with you on your Rocket 3 GT. And you want to make sure they're fully unzipped before you clamshell open the panniers and, potentially damage a zipper. One of mine wouldn't fully zip, and another one had issues with the plastic tumbler lock on the top of the bag. So I wish they made the panniers to a higher standard of durability. And the total expense for 2020 was $28,085.63, and there was one recall. Shortly after I got the bike, they wanted to add a rubber strip around the bottom of the seat, which never really stays on anyway. I've been tempted just to throw that away for years. Okay, so let's go on to the second year of owning the bike, 2021. So I had a lot going on in 2021 with some personal travel and then working a new job type of thing. Priorities. But the bike was in early December of 2021 for a no start diag. Had many TFT issues in 2021. I stopped at the dealer at least 4 times regarding my TFT non-start issues, and just really frustrating. Of course, in 2021, took the Rocket 3 GT to the Panhandle in Florida, and the bike completely crapped out on me. I did get some backup accessories for the bike. The strap that goes up the center of the tank, I have a couple scratches. I know they'll polish out, but I bought myself a new backup strap for the tank in case I ever sold the bike. And then that aluminum finishing piece off the back of the bike, carrying my wingman of the road tent off the back of the bike, road vibrations and stuff. So that's a little bit marred up, and I have a brand new one if I ever sell the bike, that finisher piece off the back of the rear backrest. So lots of TFT issues in 2021, and you know, they're not very sympathetic at the dealer. Once you buy something, you're on your own. And I'm someone with an engineering background, and I take care of the stuff I work for. So it was frustrating to go through the push and pull with the dealer when I had a legitimate problem and the bike was under warranty. So for 2020 and 2021, many TFT issues with my bike. Never got fixed at the dealer. And then, of course, coming soon, the owner died of Detroit Triumph, and new people eventually took over, which meant that all my records got expunged from the system because they brought their own system in. So totally screwed, actually. And you know, I just blame the way it is for the way it is. And having a good motorcycle mechanic, if you know a really good one that respects your property and really knows what they're doing, you got to stick with that person for life. I don't have anyone like that for my bikes. Okay, so in year 3, 2022, I did the drive shaft fluid ahead of schedule. You know, I've worked on production lines at automotive companies in terms of start of regular production stuff, and I just figured, hey, let's just do the drive shaft and the antifreeze fluid. And I'm glad I did it, because doing that kind of stuff ahead of time instead of waiting for the exact point in time that you need to do your antifreeze and drive shaft fluid, I think I was ahead of the game there. So the drive shaft fluid was $371.17, and that oil change, the drive shaft fluid was end of May 2022. Mid-June, I got the oil change. I bought the kit for the oil change. I just bought the parts, you know, the oil and the washer, the oil filter. That was $106.99. And I think you guys know I made a ROCKET3GT oil change video around that time with my purchase on June 15th, 2022. And then during 2022, I had here three stops, Detroit Triumph for TFT help, and a case they never opened. I mean, I sat there and stood there while the guy was typing the case in, and it went nowhere. And then, like I said, these new owners took over, and I really got screwed over. And, you know, I've got a channel. I haven't seen any other channels using specifically a ROCKET3GT. I'm sure there might be a few now, but back then in 2022, there wasn't, you know, at least on the radar in any kind of nominal way. And, you know, I haven't seen another channel using a ROCKET3GT for motorcycle camping. So I'm just saying, you know, when someone gets screwed over like this, right? I'm not being a victim. You know, I spent a lot of money on this bike, and you know, the after sales part of my bike is horrendous. And you know, I can compare it with the Goldwing, problem free, except a fuel pump recall this year. And I'll talk about the Goldwing in a different video, by the way, because that fuel pump replacement did not go very well, but it got done. And then here, so I have here 3 stops with Detroit Triumph for TFT help in a case they never opened, stating they created a case with Triumph motorcycles. Total expense in 2022 was $478.16. Okay, so obviously the first year so far I spent the most money. And you know, the purchase price of the bike, for the purpose of this video, I took the hit in the first year. The bike is paid off. I did finance it, but I paid it off early. And, you know, I'm taking the hit for the bike in the first year of ownership from an accounting perspective and for this video. And here in 2023, there were 2 recalls, one for the rear master brake cylinder. Now, I talked in other videos about the Triumph ROCKET3GT not having a very strong rear brake. it doesn't really just clamp down on that rear tire. I went out to an Indian test ride event and was shocked at how well the rear brakes on Indians are. You can feel a nice grab, and I think that's what you want as a rider and for safety. And then of course, I've ridden other bikes like Harleys and other bikes, around 2023, and they all had way better rear brakes than my ROCKET 3 GT. And so this rear master brake cylinder goes in during November of 2023, and I really can't tell much of a difference, and the funny thing is that the rear brake pads are barely wearing. So this is a design flaw with the ROCKET 3 GT, and Triumph really drags its feet on recalls. They wait too long, and I just feel like they replaced the old rear master brake cylinder with the original one they used. I have no proof they upgraded my rear master brake cylinder. The other one was for the TFT, no start issues, TFT warning lights coming on out of the clear blue, and my bike went in for warranty for that. Now the disgusting part of all that is that only for a short moment of time did my TFT issues go away. I'm talking barely weeks. And then the mechanic that worked on my bike scuffed up the whole area underneath the seat. So, I'm afraid to take my bike to Detroit Triumph because they mar up my bike. They, I don't know the qualifications of anyone working back there other than the fact they can work on lawnmowers. That's how bad it is. And these dealers try to pay people as little as they can. And when you pay people as little as they can, maybe they don't have the skills needed to work on a motorcycle, at least not yet without a certification. I don't know. But the bigger problem is, whether it's car dealerships or motorcycle dealerships, is, you bring your car in and they don't respect it. And they lose a customer, they damage your property, and you feel like you've got to get rid of it now that they've damaged it, and they won't fix anything. So I just go back to, as soon as I find a guy that's a certified motorcycle mechanic, I don't care if he works from home or where he works, that's who I'm going to for both my bikes. Okay, and also during 2023, I had 2 do-it-yourself oil changes, and I made a mistake with the oil changes. I let Detroit Triumph sell me Motul, M-O-T-U-L oil. It's like an off-road motorcycle oil, but these people are out there, including a good channel friend of mine. Hey, oil is oil. There's no difference. No, they process it and refine it. So oil coming out of the ground is oil, but how they process and refine the oil determines how good that oil is going to work in your engine or car, motorcycle, whatever. So be aware of that. Long story short, I'll get to 2024. When I went back to Castrol motor oil, the bike ran smoother and better. So make sure you stick with Castrol motor oil or a high quality oil if you do your own oil changes on your ROCKET 3 GT. So the 2 do-it-yourself oil changes were $212, $106 each time, and 3 visits to Detroit Triumph regarding TFT issues, non-start issues, and I spent a total of $212 on my bike just in oil changes in 2023. Of course, I had a lot of lost time on camping trips and trips on the ROCKET getting stranded. I had no way to put a number on that. Okay, now we're talking about year 5, 2024, and in March, utter TFT failures at Daytona Beach. My TFT warning lights were coming on out of the blue, and I was getting indicators that my front turn signals and back turn signals on the bike were inoperative. So in a panic, right here again, the second time the ROCKET's ruined a out-of-state vacation to Florida for me. And it's not funny because I took my bike to Detroit Triumph and actually looked at it for free given the history, and that mechanic told me there was nothing wrong with my bike and I could take it to Florida. I felt more comfortable on my ROCKET in Florida than I would have on my Goldwing, and I wish I'd taken my Goldwing, but that trip, I go to Daytona Beach Motors in Daytona during Bike Week, and they told me Detroit Triumph didn't tighten my battery cables. So they tightened my battery cables. Can you believe that? you know, they just gave me my bike back with loose battery cables. So I think, you know, stuff like that's intentional. And I don't know what Triumph Motorcycles does to monitor their dealers for situations like this. You know, they're pissing people off because I've seen on forums and other places on the web, I'm not the only guy getting shafted by the TFT design from Triumph. I mean, it's supposed to connect to your GoPro. It's never done that once. And connecting it to the My Triumph app for navigation is a joke because when you shut the motorcycle off, it disconnects everything, even though it's running through your phone. I mean, it's just stuff like that, right? And also in June of 2024, I put new Metzler tires on my bike, ME888 Marathons. My option was either that or the Metzler Cruise Tech. The Marathons have a far more aggressive tread pattern and a different rubber compound than the Cruise Tech tires, and the Cruise Tech tires look too much like the Avon Cobras, which are not great tires. They wear out quick and fast, and they flat spot fast. So if you're riding a Rocket 3 GT or a Rocket 3R with Avon Cobras on it, you should probably replace them because you're going to have cupping and flat spotting, especially on the rear tire. So I'm not a big fan of the Avon Cobras, knowing how good my Metzler Marathon tires are. Total game-changing tire for the Rocket 3 GT. So, you know, I've looked at a lot of these Rocket videos from other YouTubers, and they're all the same. They're a commercial for the Rocket 3 GT, and the highlight of the video is them giggling when they open it up. And then they give the bike back to the dealer after a couple days, and they go, should I buy it or shouldn't I buy it? And it's just a rolling commercial with some idiot giggling. I want to tell you right now that these reviews all say the same thing, that the bike is not that great in twisties and turnies against sportier bikes, things like that. You put Marathon Metzlers on your Rocket 3 GT, you're going to pick up your handling game and cornering game by 55% over the Avon Cobra going through twisty. So especially the corner traction, side traction of the tires is excellent. I just love my Metzler tires. And if I can get a set of ME888 Marathons for the Goldwing when it's time for those tires, I'm going to do it. Okay, when they put the tires on the bike, they told me that the front wheel bearings had small nicking in them. I paid for new front wheel bearings, and that was like $257. The tires, by the way, I didn't mean to skip that price. That was like $1,219. But the front wheel bearings come off. I pay for the new wheel bearings. They do the work, and my motorcycle sensei, you know, Pat told me they probably damaged those wheel bearings doing the tire, and they stuck me with the wheel bearing replacement because we looked at the wheel bearings that came off the bike and we couldn't see any damage or nicking on them. These dealers are crooks, okay? You know, definitely that dealer could have covered a $200 mistake. And so here's what I found out. I get a 10% discount off at Dick Scott Freedom Power Sports on parts and stuff like that. I get no discount, military discount at Detroit Triumph. But I found out that Dick Scott Power Sports, if they tell you it'll take half an hour to do the work, they'll still charge you for the full hour. And they add other stuff. They have a very big shop supplies fee that they add. They just pack the bill. They make their money on their service department more than they make the money on selling bikes. So the one thing about Detroit Triumph I'll say that's good is that if they tell you 30 minutes, they'll only bill you for 30 minutes. I don't get that at Dick Scott, and you know, it's a take it or leave it. I hate taking my motorcycle. I hate taking my 4Runner. I hate it going to the dealers. I just hate it because they're all morons and they treat you like you're a noob. And this is not me being hypersensitive. It's just the way it is out there right now. So, you know, the new motorcycle buying experience is one thing, but after sale service, they make all their money. Car dealerships, motorcycle dealerships, they make it on service and parts, and they're out to gouge, and take, and they don't care if they make a mistake, they're still going to bill you. Okay. And so we did the front wheel bearings, and then in early October, I got that castor oil change. They told me 150 over the phone. I said, F it, I'll do it. And then when I went to pick up the bike, they were trying to hit me for around $200. And I said, you guys said 150 on the phone. This is Detroit Triumph again. The reason I took it to Detroit Triumph for the oil change, it was too hard for me to get the price of an oil change from Dick Scott Power Sports. I'd ask on the phone, tell them the bike, and they wouldn't give me a price over the phone. So, you know, I'm good at giving people second chances. In Detroit Triumph's instance, 5 chances, but that oil change for Castrol was $156.20. And let me tell you, the bike came with Castrol stickers on it when I bought it. Just use Castrol in your bike. Don't use brands like Motul or off-the-shelf brands that you don't know. My shifting, the bike just runs better in Castrol after having had Motul oil in it. So don't make the mistake I made. My bike's fine. And during 2024, I had 2 stops to Detroit Triumph regarding TFT issues a week before Daytona and after I came back. And they charged me $147 to look at my bike after they promised me a week before Daytona there was no problems with my bike. And they're like, well, if it's something we did, you don't have to pay. You know, these idiots, you know, they basically charged me $147 probably to make up for not charging me a week before Daytona. But you know what? Same thing again. This is absolutely nothing wrong with your bike. And they claimed to have clean connections, electrical connections on my Triumph. And guess what? TFT issues all came back. Now, when I got the castor oil change in mid-October of this year, the TFT issues went away. I think they flashed my bike again. So for the rest of the year into now, I have no TFT issues with the Triumph. But I'm holding my breath for 2025 when I start riding the bike again. So in total, I spent $2,105.65 on the bike in year 5 this year. So next year, okay. Now, one of the things you have not heard me mention is they were riding me hard to have a valve seat inspection done on my bike. I don't trust a single mechanic between Dick Scott Power Sports and Detroit Triumph to take apart my motor, take the head off. I already heard horror stories from other rocket owners at Detroit Triumph who had the valve seat inspection, paid between $2,000 and $3,000, and their bike didn't run right. They lost their bikes for 3 to 4 months because they couldn't figure out how to do it correctly. And imagine paying for that. They let you drive your bike off underperforming and you bring your bike back and you've lost your bike for the whole summer. I know that happened at Detroit Triumph. I'm sure this happened at other Triumph dealers across North America. Let me know in comments on that. So I'm not going to do that valve seat inspection probably until 30 or 40,000 miles. I had valve tapping at 9,200 miles with my Rocket 3 GT. Right now it's got 18,034 miles on it. I put Z-Max in the fuel and the valve tapping went away. So just a tip for you guys, but it's not that I don't want to get a valve seat inspection, but I think if you take care of your bike like we do and you use a splash of Z-Max every now and then, you're not going to have a problem. So here's the valve seat inspection, not going to happen. I looked in the owner's manual. They said do it at 20,000 miles. I'm waiting until 40. I take care of my bike. I'll get the clutch fluid done in 2025. I'll get the air filter done in 2025. That's late. I'll get the fuel hoses and another oil change in 2025. I don't think it needs new fuel hoses, and then I'll get spark plugs, new spark plugs. With spark plugs, it's not about miles, it's about age, and I just want new plugs in the bike. And I will not be surprised if the TFT non-start issues return, these dummy warning light issues come back. My bike's out of warranty now, and again, I don't think Triumph Motorcycles desire to do the right thing with so many people out there that have TFT issues with their Triumph motorcycles, not just Rockets, but other ones. And, you know, I'm talking about orange lights. And then again, I want to make the point, I haven't had any TFT issues since my last oil change. Kind of funny, isn't it? Right? Okay, and let me go here. So I just want to give a summary to wrap up this video. Okay, so $28,085.63 in 2020. In 2021, year two, $767.52. In 2022, year three, $478.16. In year four, 2023, $212. In year five, $2,105.65. This year, total for all years is $31,170.80. And at this point, would I buy a ROCKET 3 GT again? The answer is no. It's too expensive of a bike. It's also not a beginner's bike. And, you know, this year I bought an Adam Sandoval travel bag for my bike. That resolves a lot of the luggage issues for me on the Triumph ROCKET 3 GT. Notwithstanding, it looks to me like they designed the Triumph ROCKET 3 GT more for women than for men, with the luggage offerings from Triumph being petite and minuscule. And they have a terrible tank bag that goes the full length of the bike, and it blocks the TFT and Speedo if you install it. I did buy one of those too. I just leave it off the bike. It was a waste of money. I made a mistake there too, so don't buy that Triumph tank bag for the ROCKET 3 GT either. So I have a bike to compare the ROCKET to in terms of quality. I had one recall on the Goldwing, no money left in my pocket, and I've only spent money myself to do my own Goldwing changes. That bike has no issues, is dependable, it's built to a high standard, and I don't have to worry about the bike stranding me, ever, when I take it out, no matter how far I take it. So the final point I want to make is that ROCKET motorcycles are an extremely expensive proposition with mid-range quality, and I give the bike overall on a scale of 1 to 10, 7.1. I think you're better off with a Ducati or a Honda Goldwing than you are with a ROCKET 3 GT from a cost perspective. The bike is very expensive to put new tires on. It's just an expensive bike, and there's no warranty support from Triumph Motorcycles at all. And I've tried to work with two different Triumph dealers, and they're both shady operations in my book, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, if you buy something from a dealer, they should be thinking we want him to buy again or her to buy again, and they don't do that. And it's a sin what dealers make off their service departments versus off what they sell. And I think, you know, for a first bike, if you're not making great money, the ROCKET's not the right way to go. You need something that doesn't have you dumping in thousands and thousands of dollars into the bike like I've done. And the biggest point I want to make is that I think some viewers know this. I want a Toyota FR86. They make a Subaru version. It's a two-seat sports car. It's called the poor man's Porsche with a small rear back seat. I can get one of those for $31,000 or $32,000. They're high quality cars. They have a great warranty, and they're cheaper than my ROCKET motorcycle in the big picture. I can get one for $31,000 to $33,000 right now. The prices were cheaper a couple years ago. You know, motorcycles are too expensive, and the ROCKET 3 GT is another great example of a motorcycle that's too expensive compared to a very remarkable, fairly priced car called the F86 from Toyota. So, appreciate you guys watching this episode. I put together a lot of charts, and I'm talking to those charts. You see me glancing down as I do this. I just want to say thank you to you guys for all you do to support On Down the Road Productions. We are on your side. I'll never make commercials for anybody just to be insincere. Insincere commercials, right? I won't do. If something is that good, like the 4Runner, I'll talk about it. 4Runners, 5th generations, are that good of a truck. They're built like a bank vault and problem-free and hold their value. So I can't say that about the Rocket 3 GT. Has Triumph motorcycles, or have Triumph motorcycles come a long way with their quality and things like that? Yeah, for sure. But some of the bikes are still built very cheaply, like the TFT, the key fob, the rear master brake cylinder. They skimped out on cost. And other parts of the Rocket 3 GT are pretty good, like the clutch and the motor. But past all that, you know, I'm glad I could share this info. And if you're thinking about buying a Rocket 3 GT or a Rocket 3R, sharing my experience, I hope helps with your decision to buy or not to buy. Guys, until next episode, keep doing the best you can. Please follow me, us, on Instagram if you get the chance. And we think of you. We're on your side. We appreciate you. And any video ideas, whatever you want me to do, drop them in comments. I've been launching a lot of shorts lately. But hey, that's how it goes, right? And I'm backlogged on 5th generation videos, 5th generation 4Runner videos. So I need to get more stuff out around the 4Runner content. Okay, guys, until next episode. Do the best you can, and thank you for being here with us, and we think of you, and God bless.